Hello and merry meet. Welcome to the first Lone Witch podcast. I'm going to be reading a chapter from Hedge, A Guide to Solitary Witchcraft by Beth. So, I'm just going to start from the first chapter. Introduction. The following letters were not meant to be in a book originally. They were written as lessons for two apprentice witches. For the real life, Tessa and Glyn. Then I realised that this could well be a book of interest to many who are seeking a path of natural magic, but who are unprepared, for one reason or another, to involve themselves with covens. Tessa and Glyn have been taught in an old tradition, that of solitary or hedge witch. This is rather like the old-time village wise woman or wise man, one who knows and worships the goddess and her consort, the horned god. One who practices spellcraft for the purposes of healing and teaches the mysteries. Though this is sometimes a lonely path, it leads to great places of beauty. Parts of it can be walked in company with others, but the magical workings are always done alone or with one magical partner. This suits some of us, for there is a certain kind of witch at home with solitude. He or she need not be friendless, but by temperament some are drawn to worship and work magic on their own, and to fulfill a different archetype from that of a coven member. To them, and to my husband and magical partner Cole Companion, this book is dedicated. Beth, Yule 1988, the West of England. Part 1. Dear Tessa and Glyn, I will answer your question, what is witchcraft? In letter form, and I will start with the most surprising things I can think of. The biggest surprise to most people about witches, once they have realised we are not devil worshippers nor tools of the power of evil, in true horror movie style, is that we worship a female deity, a goddess. We also worship a god. That does not really surprise anyone, but reverence for the mother of all life, in this culture, is unexpected. It has implications spiritually, emotionally, and socially. Historically, witches have been persecuted for their belief in a goddess. It was politically unacceptable in the patriarchal culture. Worship of a goddess would have to mean, for example, that the earth, Mother Earth, would once again be held sacred. She could no longer be polluted or exploited for any reason, and a great deal of power and profit would be lost by unscrupulous men. Better from their point of view to worship a god who is all mind and spirit, out there up in heaven away from the disgusting, sinful earth. In the spiritual way of our modern world, femaleness has long been reckoned as not quite so holy as maleness. Women, in all the world's patriarchal religions, Christianity and Islam in particular, is seen as a bringer of sin and a snare trap for the holier sex. Closer to animality, through the menstruation and childbirth, and to the earth. How can there be a God who is female? Most people would now ask. Witches would answer that childbearing is the original creative act, and that prehistoric people worshipped both gods and goddesses, primarily goddesses, since time out of mind. Yes. This is shown by the earliest mythologies, and by the numerous pictures and statues of goddesses, which have been found at ancient sites all over the world. Nowadays, some witches, in rebellion against the cruel suppression of goddess worship, would actually go as far to say that only the goddess should be worshipped. An understandable but sad reaction. However, the Father of all life, the God, must be acknowledged too. He exists, his suppression would be destructive as the suppression of the knowledge of the Mother Goddess. I'll say that again. He exists, and his suppression would be as destructive as suppression of all knowledge of the Mother Goddess. The true aim of witchcraft is reconciliation of opposites. Bitterness, hatred, and resentment between the sexes is as old as history. But witchcraft is the only religion which has its aim the healing of these wounds. Sadly, there are those in the world of both sexes who have no desire for reconciliation, or perhaps no belief that such a thing is possible. To them, for them, I cannot speak, but I can speak to you, too, and perhaps to others. What I am saying is that witchcraft, at least potentially, is a religion of healing. What does it gain in credentials? What is its history? Witchcraft is paganism. More specifically, it is a type of paganism with roots in our Neolithic past. It has evolved and endured through the thousands of years of persecution. In the present day, it is a system of beliefs and magical practices dedicated to restoring the lost harmony between humanity and the subtle transactional aspects of life, the mysteries. Our belief is that this would restore also the lost harmony between humanity and Mother Earth. Through it now, the new reborn, it was, in fact, a form of the old religion. Perhaps now you can see why it has been dubbed as evil, for such slander and this standard practice of incoming religion displacing an old one. Witches, then, are not necessarily evil. They are simply followers of a religion which predated Christianity. Second surprising fact: witches are not always elderly women, although they can be. In any case, they are more prone to warts than the average number of the population, though considerably better at charming warts away. They are not recognisable. Not only do they not wear tall black hats, but they could be any age and either sex. The men are called witches too, not warlocks, as some people may think. Some works in covens, some alone, and some, like myself, with one magical partner. But you have no way of knowing who among your neighbours might be one. It could be anybody. Yes, they do practice magic, not to curse or undermine, but to help and heal. Does it work? Does magic achieve anything? Third surprising fact: yes. But it has to be learned like anything else. Also, yes, witches do sometimes work naked in their rites. Even solitary witches do this, for we believe it is sacredness of all our bodies, and we enjoy the freedom and the beauty of going sky-clad. Furthermore, tradition says that magic can be worked more efficiently like this, as clothes can impede in the flow of a witch's etheric energy. It is warm weather, of course, or by blazing fire. There is nothing magically effective about goose flesh. Well, I hear you ask next, now that you've let about nakedness, how about old Nick, with the horns and the forked tail? What about old Horny? Don't you really worship the devil? No smoke without fire. Old Horny, yes. The devil, principle of evil? No. The horned god to witches is a male partner of the triple goddess. He is a dynamic, the life force male aspect of nature. We worship him because we worship life. He has horns and a tail to denote his instinctive and animal knowledge, his nature, wisdom. The god is part beast and part man, a blend of life force and shamanic skills. The horned god, like the goddess, is sexual, earthy, passionate, and wise. Cruel and evil he is not. Between these two, the mother goddess and her partner, the world was made. They made it by desire and by love. Therefore, their sexuality is the sacred life force, and it follows that to witches, our own sexuality is sacred. A spiritual experience, potentially the most spiritual of all experiences. Perhaps this is the most surprising fact about witchcraft. It shouldn't be, but I have to admit that in this world, as it actually is, most people find it hard to equate sex and spirituality. It goes against everything patriarchal religions have taught about sex being shameful and disgusting, at best a necessity for the continuation of the species. Are you still with me? Still interested? If so, ask more questions. I will do my best to answer everything because I want to set the record straight. I and my fellow witches are tired of being seen as the wearers of tall black hats who make revolting bat-wing soup and hang out about churchyards in the dead of night, collecting dead men's fingernails. I don't. We don't. So if in the mention of the horned god hasn't put you off, write back or call round. Ask more questions. I will go on answering in letter form, as this gives me a chance to think about what I want to say and how to express myself, I hope, more clearly. I will write the same letter to each of you and send a copy to your separate addresses. Whilst I will keep a copy for my own reference, it is good to have a chance to tell the truth and to be listened to with sympathy. All blessings to you both. Blessed be, Ray.